Camera speed.
Sound production, take one.
Action!
Welcome to the Enter The Fangirls podcast. I'm Sam.
I'm Lexie, and we're just two girls with a slight obsession with everything pop culture.
We are so excited for this episode.
Yes, we are. Especially because we didn't think this was going to happen.
Right?
Like 24 hours ago.
We're reviewing Scream 5. And
Scream.
Sorry, Scream, but Scream 5. We literally were planning to do a Ted Lasso episode today.
Yes.
And then plans changed.
Just shout out to Fran.
Yeah, shout out to Fran if you're watching this. We love you. But yeah, plans changed. So Ted Lasso will be next week. This week we're doing Scream, and we're so excited. We have so many thoughts.
A lot.
It just feels surreal that there's even a new one to talk about.
Never would have thought.
Literally same.
But I'm glad that it's here. And we'll discuss it.
Yeah. So I guess we just jump in because we have so many notes and stuff. So I guess we just hop right in. So naturally, it opens with the opening kill. It always opens the same way, and I kind of love it.
Yeah.
I honestly think this might be if I was ranking them, this would be number 3 for me in terms of the opening kills.
What's number 2?
Scream 2. I like the movie theater one is fun.
Yeah, no, it is.
It is. It's really fun. But yeah, it has a lot of callbacks I found to the original Drew Barrymore one. It felt like a very updated version of that, which I thought was so much fun.
It was just, I mean, we knew right from the trailer that it was going to mimic the original.
Yeah.
And it definitely took the modern twist with it being texting and locking and unlocking the house through her phone. That
was so cool. Remember, we even said that we hoped they played with, modern day technology, and they did, and they played with it a lot, actually. There was a couple, well, maybe not a lot, but they did play with it a few times, and I thought it was fun.
Yeah.
This is the one that really worked for me. There is another one later that I don't understand, and it confuses me, but I'll bring it up when we get there.
I have no idea what you're talking about, okay.
We'll get there. But it also mentions a lot of today's horror movies, which is something that Macy brought up last episode. Yeah. If they were going to bring up new horror movies, because obviously they name dropped a lot of the original OG classic ones in the first movie. So it was kind of fun to see them call out the new ones, which
the only new one I recognized was Hereditary.
Yeah, I honestly wasn't expecting them to do it just because I don't want to say they're bad or anything, but definitely not I feel as well known.
They're also, I feel like a different genre of horror.
Yeah. People call it elevated horror.
Yes. Right. I'm sorry. Elevated
No, it's
horror.
okay. No, it's okay. I think it makes sense for the character, but it was definitely I was expecting some major classic horror drops.
Well, especially because in Scream 4 it was more of the classic horror drops.
Yeah. Then again, how much really was out in 2011 in terms of newer horror movies? It was a lot of remakes.
Okay. I enjoy that they talked about the original the original Scream as the questions. I'm really mad at Tara that she got the freaking killer question wrong.
She got it half right. But how do you forget Stu?
Granted, she watched the movie when she was 12, but you live in Woodsboro.
I watched the movie when I was 12, and I remembered Stu.
Yeah, exactly.
That's the biggest plot twist is that it's the two of them.
Yeah. Literally every other killer has been 2 except for 3.
Get me started on that. Something else. This is the first taste of just how gory this movie would get. Because holy crap, is this movie gory? It's kind of disgusting at times. This one, honestly, there were two main ones that really got me, and it's this one when the knife goes straight through her fucking hand.
That happens in the beginning of Scream 4 as well, when they're showing Stab 5.
It's disgusting, and I hated it. But it looked really good.
It did.
But yeah, we definitely don't see a lot of blood or gore in the Scream franchise, except for Scream 4.
Mm-hmm.
So it was kind of fun to see that. I'm not really a big gore hound, but it definitely was kind of fun to see them play with the kind of stuff that they can do now. Because they definitely couldn't do that in 1996.
Oh, no.
They could. It just wouldn't maybe look...
It didn't look as...
great.
Yeah, no, it definitely didn't look as real. Like, I have screenshots of Sydney covered in blood from the original, and, like, now I have screenshots of Sydney covered in blood in Scream 4 and Scream 2022, and it looks so real.
Yeah.
And it's kind of creepy, but I love it.
Yeah.
It definitely just does not look like pig's blood. Corn syrup, like they use for Carrie. But Tara. There was something else I want to say about Tara.
What do you think about her?
I felt like she was a little over the top.
I agree. Also, how old is she supposed to be? Because she feels young. Like, she feels like 15, 16.
That's what I was expecting. I didn't expect her to be a senior in high school. I was going to say like
I think I was.
Junior.
I think maybe just because I think I guess the original would have been.
No, none of them were seniors.
Yeah, I was gonna say I don't know the year before, like that.
Well, you know what? They should have been seniors because Scream 2 came out in 97 and they were already in college.
Or was it 98?
No, it was 97 actually.
Okay.
But I still think in the original I'm expecting like 16.
But I mean, now I'm wondering if Billy was older than them all, because we'll get there.
Very true. But don't get me wrong, Jenna Ortega did a fabulous job, and I think
her screams were so good.
So good. No, this is literally going to be her year, because I saw there was a new trailer with her in it that came out today. Like, she is booked this year. She's ready.
Yeah, I love that for her.
People say that she's going to be the new Scream Queen, and I can see it.
Mm-hmm.
But
she got the scream down.
1,000%. Do you think she was a little over the top at, like,
I think
a lot of crying?
A lot of the acting in this was over the top.
Yes.
Which isn't always a bad thing.
No.
But at times it did come off a little cringy. And I guess we'll kind of, like, when we talk about the new characters, I'll kind of more in depth with that. But yeah, I like Tara.
No, there's definitely nothing wrong with her. I'm happy
I feel very neutral to her.
Yeah.
Like, I don't have the connection I had to Casey from the first one, because I think everybody loves Casey, but everybody loves Drew Barrymore.
Exactly.
She was like America's darling at that point. So.
And every Scream opening scene has been someone big. And don't get me wrong, Jenna Ortega is very big, but she's not.
She's new big.
Yes. Like, what was Drew doing in 1996? Oh, E.T. already aired by then, and everyone knew her for that.
She, I think, had already done, like, The Wedding Singer.
Okay.
And, like, that was a big movie for her. Like, she had a bunch of stuff under her. Like, Riding in Cars with Boys, I'm pretty sure it was around then.
Okay. Yeah, so she was, like, super big. And what Scream 2
was? She was huge, because they cast baited with her. Like, she's on... She's the main one on the poster.
When I first watched Scream, I expected her to be in the entire movie.
Everyone did. Which is why it's so crazy when she's killed.
But she talked about this on her show, that with timing for filming, it wasn't going to work out, but she's like, I need to be in this. Let me be the first kill. And
I love that.
I think that's kind of iconic. Like, who wants to just be in, like, the first 10 minutes of a film and die?
Me. Like, literally, that's my new goal. I want to be the opening kill in a Scream movie.
The opening kill.
So, Scream producers, if you're working on number 6, I can scream. I can play dead.
I can play dead. Oh my god. But it was definitely refreshing to not have the opening scene someone die.
Yeah. I think we all expected that, but it was definitely fun. And I think it did kind of leave it a little bit confusing to me, because I'm like, okay, how is she even, because we knew she was going to be a big part of the movie, but I'm like, how is she going to be if she's literally got her leg curb stomped by Ghostface?
Yeah. I forgot about her leg.
Yeah. That was this whole opening sequence was just so much. It was kind of terrifying. Like, honestly, I think this is the first time that I've been scared of Ghostface in a while. I used to be really scared of him when I first watched the movies. Granted, I was like 12.
Yeah.
But like, then I'm just like, nah, you're very, very goofy, very funny. But this, he was like scary.
I was not that scared, shockingly, for someone that doesn't like horror.
No, I just mean like he pops out of like nowhere. Like he really just like is hiding all over the place. You never know where he's gonna be, especially in the sequence with Wes, which we'll talk about later. That part especially, I'm just like, okay, where is he? Like, he's here, where is he though?
Yeah, no, that was with Judy. That was the one time I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah. Oh, I have a lot of thoughts about that. I kind of loved that sequence, honestly.
Yeah, no, it was good. And then
I was a little confused on how he was locking and unlocking that, or arming and disarming the house. Like, they made a little comment about how Amber shouldn't have left her phone around because he can clone it or something like that.
Well,
that's the thing. A lot of the technology here just kind of confuses me.
Well, you know, Tara and Amber were best friends. I mean, Tara kept an inhaler at Amber's house, so maybe Amber had Tara's
that's probably what it was.
In there.
That's probably what it was.
Especially considering that it doesn't really seem like that Tara's mom's around.
That's true.
You might want to have another friend or something.
Personally, I don't think I would give any of my friends. I love my friends, don't get me wrong. Don't think I would give them the, arming and disarming feature of my house.
I have an open door policy with my friends, but they will not have a key to my house or anything like that.
But good on her for being trustworthy.
Yeah.
I can't relate.
No. Maybe not so trustworthy in the next one.
Maybe not. Maybe this is where everybody learns their lessons.
Yeah.
Scream is just the franchise for people with trust issues. Yeah. But then after the opening sequence, we meet the kids that we're going to be following for the rest of this movie.
Well, first we meet Sam and Richie.
Right.
Which it's very brief.
I'm just like, is this even a part of the movie? Because it didn't look like how a normal Scream movie looks. Granted, they were not in Woodsboro.
Yeah.
But like it almost like reminded me of Stranger Things for a minute. Like they just looked very retro. It looked very sunny. Like so at first I'm just like, is this a part of the movie, or like am I watching some kind of weird like copy of it? Like I don't know.
Yeah, no, definitely did not feel like script.
I also didn't realize at first that Richie and Sam were dating until they started kissing.
Yeah.
But I really like Richie. I really like him. I did at first. Sam, I could take or leave.
Yeah.
But again, we follow her the entire movie.
Yeah, we do.
I wasn't a fan. I will say it right now. I was not a fan of really any of these characters. I didn't really feel a connection to any of them, unfortunately. I had moments.
Yeah.
But when it comes
they're also new.
That's true. But I did like all the characters from 1, and most of the characters in 4 I liked.
You liked characters in 4?
Charlie and Kirby I liked.
Charlie was a little iffy. Kirby,
You said you liked Charlie.
I do like Charlie, but Charlie was still a little weird.
Okay, justice for the weirdos, okay? And then in 2, I liked Sydney's friend that I can't remember.
Her roommate.
I liked Sarah Michelle Gellar's character. Like, I like the new cast members. These ones I just did not connect to, and I wish I did, but I don't, and I'm sorry. They're all great, actors. It was, I don't know. I
think it's because it's people we don't know. Like, you said Sarah Michelle Gellar. Everyone knows who Sarah Michelle Gellar is.
I can't remember her name. I'm sorry. But yeah, we meet Wes, who is Judy Hicks' son from number 4. Then we meet Liv, who I did not catch her name until about halfway through the movie. I just called her the pink-haired girl. And then we meet Amber.
She's the Mackenzie.
Is she?
Yes.
Oh, well, I missed that. Sorry.
Her last name's not said. You only know it if you looked up on IMDb.
Oh, okay. Fair. But yeah, then we meet Amber, and then we meet Chad and Mindy, Randy's niece and nephew, who I loved. They were definitely my favorites.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like characters. And I don't think that's a very unpopular opinion. Everybody loves Mindy.
Yeah.
I don't see any love for Chad, though, and I kind of loved Chad.
No, Chad was good, too. I didn't like him and Liv together, but thank God we didn't see a lot of them.
But what I found funny was that all of them were immediately suspicious of each other because they've seen all these stab movies. They've lived in Woodsboro. They know all the things. So they were just immediately like, maybe it was you. Yeah. No, maybe it was you kind of thing, which I thought was kind of like a funny. Mm-hmm. Speaking of which, this movie is funny.
Yeah.
Like, I laughed quite a few times.
Yeah, there was definitely some funny things.
It's pretty funny. I think that's partly due to the people who made the movie because they did Ready or Not, and Ready or Not is pretty humorous too.
I've never seen that, but okay.
It's pretty, I think you'd like that one. Yeah.
I think the only one I really wasn't suspicious of was Wes, just because of his character was so overly like cautious.
Yeah,
and
no,
I didn't
think it was him. I originally thought it was going to be Chad and Mindy going into this. But once we met them, I'm like, no, there's no way. You guys are just, like, too sweet.
Yeah.
No, so absolutely. That really only left it to, like, a few people that I'm just like, is it you?
Yeah.
But I think I was almost suspicious of just about everybody at some
point. Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. And then there's briefly another character that we meet who's Vince, which he's just standing off in the distance, and apparently him and Liv got together over the summer, and he's being very sketch and weird. Kind of new from the
also he
trailer.
Looks like he's like 30.
Oh yeah.
So what was he doing with a high schooler?
Yeah. But I kind of got from the trailer that he was gonna die, so I wasn't really attached to him.
He was definitely there to be a body.
Yeah, 1,000%. And then we'll talk a little more about Vince later on.
We go to the hospital, and it's Sam and Richie go to see Tara, and when they get there, Wes and Liv and Chad and Mindy and...
No, Liv is not there. Liv can't make it.
Right, we don't like Liv. And then Amber's there as well, and they're all there to visit Tara. It is soon revealed to us that Sam's dad is Billy Loomis.
Iconic. Was on my 22 bingo card. Never thought it was gonna happen.
Screech I let out when Skeet Ulrich showed up in this. I was not expecting that.
Last character.
When I say I love that man, I love that man.
Literally destroy my insides, and I'll be okay.
Me too.
And the fact that I thought it was CGI at first, and then he posted on his Instagram Monday.
I think someone said in like a review I was watching, they said that they did have him come back, but they used a bit of a de-aging effect to kind of young him down a little bit. I don't think it worked great. He still looks like modern day Skeet, but if it means I get new Skeet content in this, like new Billy stuff, that was kind of amazing.
Yeah.
Do I like the reason he's back? Not particularly.
Especially because it wasn't explained. I mean, last episode I did say there was a theory that Sam might be Billy Loomis's kid just because of Sam Loomis, and that goes to Dr. Sam Loomis.
You did. Psycho. I forgot about that.
So wasn't super shocked by it, but I wish it was better explained because Sam was like, Yeah, my mother had sex with Billy Loomis and didn't tell her actual boyfriend.
She pulled a Donna.
She pulled a Donna.
She pulled a Donna.
But this is not a spoiler-free thing.
Oh yeah, we never.
Yeah, we should have said that in the beginning.
This is not. I'll put spoilers.
Okay.
Spoiler review in the title.
Okay. We don't find out who Sam's mom is, and I think that is so bizarre.
This is what bothers me about it, because on one hand, it's an interesting plot twist and something I didn't really see coming.
Yeah.
But it doesn't make a lot of sense, because who's the mom?
Yeah.
Was this before he was dating Sydney or during?
Yeah.
Did she even go to their high school?
Yeah.
Like, who is she? How old is Sam?
There's a lot of plot holes in it.
It makes no, like, how old is Sam in this? Is she, like, I don't know.
No, I definitely, so she left the house when she was 18. So I'm going to say that she's in, like, 20s, low 20s.
Yeah, it's just so messy.
I
wish they would have, I don't want to say I wish they would have figured out a different way to bring him back, because I can't think of another way they could have.
No. I just wish they explained it better.
Yeah. Or they could have honestly just cut it and it wouldn't have really changed for me. They didn't do enough with it for it to really feel like it was paid off. Like, they revealed this huge jaw-dropping thing, and then they don't really go very far. I mean, they kind of do.
They, like, wanted us to expect that Sam could be bad, and I never expected her
I think that's what the
Sam
ending is kind of implying to happen.
Okay.
But I just never thought it was going. I had my moments where I'm like, okay, is Sam maybe a little bit suspicious? But
for a good portion of the movie, I thought Sam's mom was Ghostface, because she was never coming back from London, apparently, and I'm like...
Is that where she was?
Yeah, London.
Okay.
I was like, okay, she's trying to pull a, what's Sydney's father's name?
I don't know. Mr. Prescott.
Yeah, Mr. Prescott. He was trying to... He went away on a business trip in the beginning, and then...
He went on a business trip but got kidnapped.
Yeah. I thought Tara and Sam's mom went on a business trip and decided to be Ghostface.
I actually thought it was going to be Tara's dad, because when Sam is revealing that Billy is her actual dad, and that's the reason why Tara's dad left, it's so messy. Yeah. I thought it was going to be like that he's Ghostface and is coming back to try and kill Sam because of reasons, because he's jealous. I don't know.
I think it just mainly helped with the plot of coming back to the original. Mm-hmm. Because, so it's found out, we're getting to this a little early, Vince is Stu's nephew.
Yeah.
Which is so bizarre, because who the hell just finds Stu's nephew out of nowhere?
I think I did say that, I feel like I did mention in last week's episode that Stu, I feel like, has a sister. We were never told that he does or not.
Yeah, you did.
But I always kind of assumed that he would have a sister.
Yeah.
I just always got that, but I don't know if he actually does have a sister. It very well could be a brother.
Apparently he does. No, it is a sister.
It is a sister. Yes. Okay. Oh my god, go me. But yeah, like, that again came out of nowhere. And I do like the idea that it is Ghostface going after people related to past victims.
Yeah. No, past killers.
Past killers, sorry. But it is, like you said, how are you just tracking down Stu's nephew? Yeah. Because also, would his last name maybe even be Mocker?
It's not. It's Vince.
So if it's not the same, how would they know that it's Stu's?
Especially because does he even live in Woodsboro?
It's not like you can just. It's not like you can just like Google Stu's sister and find out what her maiden name is. Like.
Yeah.
There's just a lot of plot holes. So like, luckily, I'm one of those people who can just like turn off my brain. Yeah. When I watch a movie, and I don't try to think too hard about it until obviously.
After.
Now. Until after. But like, so I wasn't thinking about it in that moment. But like, now that I'm like thinking back on it, I'm like, you know what? There's a lot of plot holes in this. Like, a lot. Something I will say back to Skeet though, he slipped back into character so well. Like, I really did believe I was watching Billy from the original again.
Mama, I'm in love with a criminal.
Oh, I am.
Yeah.
Oh, Ski, I love you. Please come on the podcast with us.
Please do.
Please tell us what it was like to return to set.
I need to know everything.
Me too.
Everything.
But I feel like of the two of them, like between him and Matthew, I expected a Matthew cameo. I never would have guessed we got a Skeet cameo because there were definitely people who said that they thought Stu was going to be alive and that, like, oh no, he didn't actually die. Like, we can see him twitching, we can see him slightly breathing. He could still be alive. Billy got shot in the head, so there was no way. No. So I definitely more expected a Matthew cameo, but was not mad to see Skeet at all. No, I was so excited. I literally it came up and I'm like, Lexie. The scream I let out in the theater, I think people stared at me because I would have lost my mind. It's not even the fact that it was Billy Loomis. It's just literally like my crush just came back in one of my favorite film franchises ever. So rich. Yeah, then we move on to our first legacy.
Can we touch on about Sam leaving a little bit? Because Amber has like a little vendetta against Sam leaving and her being apparently a drug addict.
I have a theory. I just think Amber's in love with Tara.
Oh, no.
Amber's gay. No, Amber's gay.
Amber is gay.
Like, she is.
Which is so funny gay. Because Mindy is the gay one.
Right? No, Amber's closeted. I'm sorry. She is.
Wait. Oh my god, that's so funny. So the girl that plays Mindy is also on Yellow Jackets, and her character in Yellow Jackets is gay.
I love that.
Yeah. Well, maybe she's gay in real life.
Maybe.
Good for her. She's very pretty. I really liked her.
She's really pretty. But yeah, no, I'm definitely convinced that Amber is gay and she was in love with Tara and cause she was very protective of Tara.
Very.
And then she also had like a little bit of chemistry with Mindy later on and I'm just like, can you all kiss? I can get the sexual tension here. Like, I am fully convinced that that's just it. No, that's the only reason. That's it. That's why she hates Sam because she hurt her girlfriend.
Literally though.
Anyway, that's mine.
Yeah, I also felt like
or maybe the actress is just really good and has really great chemistry with everybody, but no, I like my headcanon better. But yeah, our first legacy character that we meet is Dewey Boy. The boy Dewey.
I wish Dewey was doing better.
He is going through it.
To say the least.
I mean, the salt and pepper beard really works for him. I will say that. And I was very heartbroken to find out that him and Gail were not together.
I was not shocked, but
it was on my bingo card that they were going to be either. I thought they might be divorced, but I really thought they were going to have a kid.
No.
Very upset that they did. But yeah, they're divorced or separated, whatever it is. But he still watches her on the news every day.
Cute.
It's so adorable, and it kind of breaks my heart because why did they have to do them like that?
I wish they didn't have to.
Something I did notice in the background though is he has Tatum's ashes in like a little memorial setting on his shelf, and I just thought that was really cute because we never got to see him react to.
We've never heard about Tatum's death ever.
She was never mentioned ever again. I don't think she was ever mentioned in another movie.
No.
Which is kind of crazy, but so it was nice to kind of see a little thing for her, like a kind of acknowledgement of her, especially considering it's her brother, and we probably should have got a reaction.
True. What happened to their mom? Because we've met their mom.
Lexie, don't think too hard.
I was thinking really hard. I was like,
maybe she was smart and got the hell out of Woodsboro after her daughter got.
Probably.
They all should have got out of Woodsboro, honestly.
They should. I mean, Sydney had no intention to ever return to Woodsboro.
And then she went back on that so quick.
But you know what? The reason behind it was okay.
Yeah. But yeah, the reason that we meet Dewey again is because Sam and Richie show up to kind of get some information from him because Ghostface is back and he's obviously an expert at this point. So he kind of like fills them in, tells them the rules of a horror movie, you know.
It's interesting because it's not the rules of the horror movie, it's the rules of
Stab, yeah.
Which I find interesting because they were different than I never realized how many rules there were for each movie.
Right?
They change constantly.
They do. It's kind of fun though.
But it changes obviously from the original, from the sequel to the end of the trilogy to the remake to the prequel. Like,
yeah,
there's a lot of horror rules apparently.
It's kind of fun. I feel like that is something I look forward to every movie. Just be like, okay, what kind of wacky ideas can they come up with as horror now?
But, like, it helps with the plot of the movie, and it fits very well.
Yeah, and I feel like if you're one of those people who try to figure out who Ghostface is, these sequences kind of do help kind of give you that push in the right direction. Did not help me. I didn't guess it right. But yeah, after Dewey tells them all that and they leave, he texts Sydney, or he calls Sydney, and we get to see Sydney, who I love. And she's just thriving. She's doing so good.
With her husband, Mark.
Yeah, Lexie's scary.
Patrick Dempsey.
Yeah, we're pretty fun.
In the third movie, the detective that helps out his name is Mark. And I'm convinced that somehow between Scream 3 and somewhere after Scream 4, they have reconnected and they got married and had...
They were supposed to be together in number 4. They were supposed to be together in number 4, but something with Patrick's schedule didn't work out.
But, so, did they mention... I can't remember now if they mentioned if Sydney was dating or she was married or whatever, but,
I feel like they mentioned her having a husband.
Maybe? I really don't remember.
I don't know. She has daughters.
I watched it this morning. I know, she has daughters. If one of them is not named Tatum.
It's probably one of the middle names, if not.
Stop. That's another person I really wish we got to meet. Her husband. And, you know, daughters could have stayed far away from Woodsboro.
Scream 6. There's always Scream 6.
Very true.
We're going to get to Scream 14 at this point.
It's gonna be like the Stab franchise.
Oh yeah, no, I 100%. I want them to. They totally missed the opportunity to do Scream 5 as time travel, like they did Stab 5.
No.
No. Oh, and then he texts Gail. Which was.
I shouldn't have put the smiley face.
Yeah, it was fun. He's so funny in this.
Yeah.
I wrote down so many of his lines just because he's so funny, and he's not even trying. Like, he's just funny.
Yeah.
He's so awkward, and it's kind of adorable. But yeah, so then we don't actually get to see Gail's response yet, but we get it later. We do get it later.
Gail's not happy.
I love Gail, honestly.
Oh.
Yeah, I have it written down. Sydney is not living in Woodsboro anymore because she's smart like that.
She is very smart. She's like, I have
no desire.
Why is she the
only one who got out of it? Like, I guess Gail did too, but...
No, they all got out, but somehow Dewey winds up back in Woodsboro. Well, no, Dewey and Gail ended up in Woodsboro in 4, and then they got out. But then Dewey's like, no, I'm going back, because somehow, for some reason, I belong here.
And he's not even the sheriff anymore.
Oh my god, that was...
You know what, Dewey boy? You know...
I mean, I feel like he should.
He could have had a brighter future. He could have been living just like the life in New York City and not working, because let's be real, Dewey went through a lot. He could have been Gail's arm candy.
1,000%.
She could have taken him to all these like red carpet events, but no. It's but yeah, after this is one of my favorite scenes in the movie, where Dewey, Sam, and Richie all go to Tara's friend's house. I think it's Mindy's house, Mindy and Chad's house.
Yeah.
And I love that they actually like remembered past characters, and there's a little plaque with a picture of Randy that says Randy Meek's Home Theater, which I thought was adorable. And we get to see his sister again, who we saw in 3, which was so cool. And she is Chad and Mindy's mom.
Yes.
And yeah, Mindy explains that they're in a requel. They're in a requel. They're living through a requel. Explains what that means. I still don't fully get what a requel means.
I have the definition for
Thank you.
A requel is a slang for a movie in a franchise that both continues the story but also revisits familiar tropes so much so that it is as much a remake as it is a continuation of the story.
Okay. So yeah, Mindy explains that. Which I get, like, as we said before we were filming this, that should have been our tip-off that this is what this movie's going to be. Because, spoiler alert, we were both a little disappointed.
Just our expectations were something completely different going in.
I expected a Sydney movie.
Yes, which is
I expected a 5-year later Sydney dealing with Ghostface again, and that's not what it is. And this should have been our tip-off, but it wasn't.
It was not. Which is fine. I just wish I would have figured that out sooner rather than...
I never got that vibe from the trailer or anything.
From the trailer.
So it's definitely like something I wasn't expecting.
Yeah.
I did enjoy it.
Yes. We'll get to more
As you can tell, we're very excited about it. But yeah, we'll talk more about that later. But yeah, again, they all start blaming each other here, which is probably one of my favorite lines of the movie. They're all blaming each other, and then Wes blames Dewey or something like that, and Dewey's like, well, maybe you're the killer, because that cut deep. It killed me. Like, and he says it so calmly.
Yes.
But he sounds so hurt by it. And it's so funny. It's so funny. Dewey is the comedic relief I needed in this movie. Because this movie got dark.
It did.
It got dark and it got bloody.
Very bloody.
He was a very welcome light.
He was.
Oh, and then Mindy also, I have it written down, she says it always goes back to the original.
Yes.
Which, again, should have been definitely... Yeah. Oh, and I also wrote down, I was very suspicious of Liv at this point, the pink hair girl. Don't know why. I don't remember why. But apparently I was suspicious of her here. Which I was kind of suspicious of her a few times.
She had zero taste and no idea what was going on. Also, another major red flag for us was Mindy said there's new main characters supported by legacy characters.
I think we were just too excited by the gloss of the new movie that we just ignored it all. And Dewey was there at that point, so like, oh, this is the Dewey movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nope.
I do like this scene though. I think it's fun, and I think it's I think it makes a lot of sense for them to all be blaming each other, because in all the movies it has been one of the friend group or something, like maybe not in number 3, but the rest of the movies there were. So I guess
there was no friend group in 3. There was just people.
Confusing. So yeah, them all turning on each other was definitely made sense. And I feel like that's something, like, if I were in this situation, I'd be like, Lex, did you do it? And then we go on to Judy Hicks. So did we see her earlier in the movie or no?
Yes, she is questioning it briefly.
I was going to say, I feel like it was a very brief moment.
She, when we first met everyone, she was outside, and they panned to her because Chad was like, I just got interrogated by your mom, Wes.
Got it. Yeah, so if you don't remember, Judy was in 4.
Yeah.
Didn't she get attacked?
She got shot at the hospital.
There's no mention of it in this. Is there?
No, she was wearing a bulletproof vest, so that's why she's all good.
Okay, never mind. I mean, I would still expect a little mention of it in this, that'd be kind of traumatizing. Fine. But she is Wes's mom. And she is jump scared by him. Because she's just like hanging around in the house, and then Wes, she hears like a door and is like, Wes, is that you? And he doesn't answer because he had his headphones in. So then he scares her. Yada yada. She says she's gonna go out and get them sushi. He says okay. She leaves to go get sushi, and he gets in the shower, and what do you know? She gets a phone call.
And guess who it is?
I think this was I keep saying everything's my favorite sequence. This was such a good sequence. Like, I didn't know where this was gonna go. Because Ghostface is taunting her the entire time, being like, oh, I'm seeing your son. He's in the shower, yada yada, like all this. So you think he's gonna get Wes.
Yeah. This might be unpopular. I didn't care for Judy.
Oh, I don't care for her either, which I think is what makes it kind of satisfying.
True.
And I just think it was like, because he doesn't strike very often in the daylight. Which again,
this was broad daylight.
Yeah,
which in a residential neighborhood.
Yeah, which brings me back to saying I think he's scarier in this because he gives no fucks.
Literally,
like
not.
Judy dies. She comes home to come save Wes, is walking up her sidewalk, and Ghostface just jumps out from behind a hedge and stabs her. Yeah. In broad daylight, in front of her front door. Why? Where anyone could be walking by.
And this is what I thought about when this whole entire sequence was over. Did no one walk by their house and see Judy dead?
Right?
Want to go in and see if everything's okay?
They don't live on Wisteria Lane, I guess.
I guess not.
But no, that seems crazy.
Yeah, and then
I expected her to die. I didn't expect her to get jabbed the second she walks onto her sidewalk.
No. I also thought Judy was going to be the killer because in 4 I thought she was the killer because she was giving off some weird vibes and she was a little too obsessive. But then she died and I was like, oh.
Well, someone posted a picture right before I watched the movie. I saw like a picture. I'm like, oh shit, is this foreshadowing? Like, is this going to be it? And it was a picture of the actor and actress who play Judy and Wes wearing coordinating outfits in an interview. I'm like, that's probably them, like, sneakily implying that they're the killer.
Yeah.
They're not.
No.
Because Wes gets got, like, immediately after.
Not immediately. There's like a game of like chase going on in that house.
Maybe.
Yeah.
So like he gets out of the shower. He has no idea that his mom is dead. He's just like going about just pulling out like hot sauce and all this stuff for the sushi, and you see him open a cupboard, and then it's one of those classic shots where you're like, oh, okay, when he closes this, Ghostface is going to be there. And he's not. So then he goes on to do something else. He opens up the fridge. You expect Ghostface to be there. He's not. Like, it just keeps going on, and then all of a sudden, Ghostface jumps out and gets him. Like, he's about to walk out the door.
No, he goes to check the front door, which now I'm realizing this is another plot hole. Judy wasn't on the walkway up to his house when Wes opened the front door, but then cut forward to when they're cleaning up and making a crime scene out of the whole house. Judy's on the front walkway dead. Where the hell did she go?
Well, shit, now it's gonna bother me. Okay.
Well, anyway, so Wes goes to check out the front door, turns around and locks the door, turns around, and there's
Ghostface is there. And he has a very painful looking death.
Yeah.
The knife goes straight through and out his neck. And it's nasty. I almost thought he was going to survive. I'm just like, oh, you get like a little neck stab. People have survived that in these movies. But then it went all the way through.
Yeah.
And I felt a little queasy. That was gross. This movie's so gross. It's great.
It was.
But yeah, no, he dies, which is kind of sad because I liked him.
I did like him too. I didn't not expect him to die that soon.
This was around the point where I was literally just saying to you, dude, like everyone dies. Like no one is safe in this one.
I wish they kind of killed him in the shower, just because when Ghostface was killing Judy, he did mention about Psycho, and I felt like that would have been a cool sequence. But yeah, no, Wes died, and then like literally everyone just started dying after that.
Literally, it does not slow down.
No, it just picks up.
I watched this channel called Dead Meat, which I will talk about more later on. But they do like a sequence called, or like a series called The Kill Count, and they like tally up all the victims in horror movies, and they they make a estimated like kill per minute kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
I can just imagine what this one's gonna be because they die like right, left, and center.
I saw something the other day, and it was like the deadliest villains, I guess, in like horror movies. I think Michael Myers had the most with like 113.
He kills a lot of people.
Yeah, but the funny part was the least amount, but also had a lot, was Jaws.
I kind of love that.
Yes, Ghostface was on there. I think he had like somewhere upper 20s, lower 30s.
You know, he's pretty good because he's fast.
Yes.
So we could just like get you and then go get somebody else like 5 minutes later. He's
Yeah.
pretty quick.
He is.
Oh, but after this scene, it goes to the crime scene, and this is where we get to see Gail. And can I just say, power suit. I love it. I love a good power suit.
Yeah.
And the color, iconic. She owned it. Her wardrobe in every single movie is aces. Maybe not the hair, because 3 haunts me. But the outfits are always good. Her hair looks great in this one, though.
It does.
Shout out Courtney. They didn't do her dirty this one.
No.
No, we love that. But yeah, so she's still a reporter.
She's a news anchor.
Yeah.
For the morning talk show in like New York.
Yeah, something like that. Oh, I did write down, so at one point she's talking to Sam, and Sam's like, well, who are you? And she's like, I'm Gail. And then she sees Dewey across the thing, and she's like, Riley. And then she's like, Weathers, Gail Weathers, and like goes after Dewey, and it just kind of got me.
Stop.
I really like them.
So do I. I like how she yelled at Dewey, though. Like, you really just texted me that Ghostface is back. You didn't think to call me?
Yeah.
But I love how her reaction was to fly back to Woodsboro and not just call him.
Mm-hmm.
Which I loved.
Oh. She knew what she was doing there.
Yes.
But yeah, this is where we get like a bit of backstory behind Gail and Dewey being separate.
Yeah.
Why'd they have to do it? Like, why'd they have to
coming.
break them up? I knew too, but I didn't want it to happen.
Well, I really thought they were going to get back together, but, spoiler alert, that does not happen.
No, it doesn't. See, there's just so many scenes that I'm just like, why'd you have to do this? Because another one of the quotes I wrote down is, Gail says to Dewey, you are a lot of things, Dewey, but you are not a coward.
Stop.
Hurts my feelings.
Yeah, no, that hurt.
I mean, it might have been awkward, maybe. That's maybe why they did it, because obviously Courtney and David are divorced in real life. But they are, like, seemingly good friends and have great chemistry still.
Well,
so
they were married in 4. They were not together in 2011, correct?
I don't know.
I think they broke up way before that, divorced way before that.
I don't know. But either way, they had still great chemistry in this, so I would have liked them to still be together.
We're up to the hospital because Sam has realized that no one is looking after Tara now. All the cops are at the crime scene.
Yeah, and around here, I mentioned I wanted to talk about that YouTube channel I like too. Richie is watching a video.
Oh, yeah.
And the people who run Dead Meat made a cameo. And I just think that's really exciting. I love this channel. I've been following them for years now. And seeing them in this was so cool. Like, I literally just, like, heard the voice. I'm like, I know you. I know you. And it was just really cool to see that. And I kind of love that they got, like, actual, like, real, like, fans of the movie in this.
Yeah.
We're available.
We are.
Enter the Fangirls on the next Scream movie.
Please do.
Oh, but then it can't be the opening kill.
We could be doing a podcast and Ghostface comes in and kills us.
That's it.
We're giving a bad review, Ghostface, saying that he sucks and that he kills us.
No, we're doing it, and just a random person pops up in our Skype call.
Oh my god. Stop.
Okay, we're gonna write this.
Have nightmares. But I liked their commentary on Stab 8 because
Yeah.
once again it fits well with the whole plot of the movie, because Stab 8 is really just called Stab, which
is what Scream is here, because it's technically Scream 5, but they call it Scream. And what they say in the video is they're like, it's just fucking Stab 8. Just call it Stab 8.
Yes. But it's very, I'll touch a little bit more of this later, but I'm sure Stab 8 was really more of a sequel, but this movie's not a sequel. It's not.
I have thoughts on that.
Yeah.
Later. Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
But then we go to the hospital.
We do go to the hospital.
This sequence was,
like you said, Sam realizes that Tara is alone in the hospital because she sees one of the cops that was supposed to be watching her at the crime scene now. So she heads off there with Richie and Dewey. And here's where I realized just how frequent
just Dewey. Richie's already at the hospital.
Right, yeah. But here's where I realized how frequent these deaths are, because Tara finds a dead body, like, as soon as she gets out of her hospital room.
Yeah.
So, like, so many people die in this. But yeah, so Tara hears a noise or something like that.
Yeah.
And immediately she's like, yeah, no, I need the fuck out of here. And I don't know how she got to that conclusion, because, you know, you're in a hospital, there's going to be sounds.
But somehow this hospital looked like there was no one else in this hospital besides Tara.
I want to know how many kills Ghostface got in, because that hospital was quiet.
Very, very
And there was not a doctor in sight.
No.
Plot holes. But whatever.
Yes. But, goddamn, Tara, I was, like, cringing so hard. Like, chills watching Tara wheel herself throughout the entire hospital.
Could she not have just done it one-handed? Is that possible?
No, it's not possible, because in your wheelchair will start going in circles.
Shit. Yeah, I did not like that.
Yeah.
Because you just see, like, the wheel slowly start to get bloody.
Bloodier.
I don't like it. I don't like it. I don't like it. It was so painful. And, like, her screams as she's doing it, like, she sold it really, really well.
Yeah, no, she did that.
Yeah, Jenny Ortega did great.
Yes. I was like, part of me was like, can this girl go any faster? Like, yeah, I know your hand is bleeding, but can we just hurry this up?
Oh, I feel like if that was me, I say this, but, like, I feel like I would just, like, zoom.
Yeah. But also,
I say that, but then, like, also, you don't know how much
blood.
that is gonna hurt.
Yeah.
She probably also didn't have much feeling in her hand, I assume.
Yeah,
like,
true.
If that knife goes straight through, I feel like you're bound to hit a nerve at some point.
Oh, no.
That's gonna fuck you up.
Absolutely. Wild.
Yeah. But yeah, Richie shows up or he's already there, I guess. But he, like, pops up and tries to help her. But then she gets a call from Sam. I think she's the one who gets the call from Sam.
No.
And it might be Richie. I don't know. It's one of them.
One of them.
Actually, I think it is Tara. But anyway, Ghostface is already chasing them down at this point. Richie's trying to help her, but Ghostface stabs him. And so then he's kind of down. And then Sam calls and kind of distracts them. And Ghostface answers and is like, okay, like, you pick your sister or your boyfriend. At this point, I'm getting so mad. I'm like, Sam, just pick your sister. You dated this guy for like 6 months. Like, fucking pick your sister. I was getting so frustrated. And then right as I was about to, like, write that down, like, that I was, like, getting annoyed and thought she might be a little sus, she's like, I was just buying time because surprise, and she's there.
Damn.
Yeah, and her and Dewey show up and shoot Ghostface, and then they knock him into a glass cabinet and knock him out. So then they all, they knock him out. I think we should just cut right now. I don't want to talk about it.
So they all decide to leave, because, you know, that'd be the smart thing.
That'd be the smart thing to do.
But Dewey, being a legacy, realizes he's probably not dead.
You have to shoot them in the head.
You have to.
Because they always come back, as he says, and that bit him in the ass.
Yeah, Dewey dies.
Dewey dies.
Dewey gets, like, gutted from, like, fucking stomach to neck. Like,
oh, it sucks so much. It sucks so
I don't
so
think
much.
I felt this sad about a death since Randy.
Oh, Randy was sad.
Randy was gone too soon.
In a way, I was spoiled about Dewey dying.
Yeah.
Literally the day after it came out, too. So I hadn't seen it yet, and someone spoiled it for me on Twitter. I was so mad. But at the same time, I was, like, kind of glad I got that warning. But I was not expecting it to happen here.
No, I was expecting it later on.
I thought it would be at the end of the movie. I thought he would get killed in the house party, like, trying to save Sydney or Gail.
Yes, I mean, I expected Dewey to die. It was on my bingo card. I was kind of hoping I was wrong, but
I thought he would have gotten. I thought he was just gonna get stabbed here, and then he would show up later and then get got. Doesn't happen. He dies here.
He dies. It's not even.
I have a theory though. I don't think he's dead.
Okay, Sam. Oh,
no,
okay.
Listen. I told this to Izzy. Shout out to Izzy. She tells me it's believable. Okay. I don't think he's dead. Yes, he looks like he got gutted. Do you know where they are? A hospital. Do you know who works in hospitals? Doctors. And I'm sorry, Ghostface couldn't have killed every single doctor. So I think a doctor got to Dewey.
There was no one in that hospital.
Shut up, Lexie. They got to him in time. And the body bag, the man in the body bag is actually the dead cop that Tara found earlier. Because we never see him in the body bag. We never actually get confirmation that it's him in the body bag. We just get Gail's reaction to it. She didn't see inside the body bag. How do we know? We don't. He's alive. He's going to come back in number 6.
Okay, Sam. Okay.
I'm in denial.
Telling yourself that.
I'm in
yes,
denial.
Clearly.
It is a good theory, though.
It's a decent theory, but
it could happen.
Honey, he's dead.
He's not dead, Lexie.
I don't want him to be, but he is.
But Gail's reaction to it hurt more than anything.
No, I was like, oh,
the acting there was so good. Like, you don't even hear her, but it was like a Lynette tornado scream.
Stop.
And if you get that reference, we love you. Oh, it hurts so bad. I got like full body goosebumps.
Yeah, it was just, and then.
Okay, I know they were gonna do this. Like, I knew they were gonna kill Dewey, but why did they have to?
Why did they have to do it so soon?
He survived so many, like,
I know.
near fatal things. Why kill him now?
Yeah.
Like, what was the point?
I mean, even if I expected Dewey to die or any of the legacy characters to die, it was in Scream 3 when Randy said that everyone in the original is not even safe. And they all survived that. So
makes me so sad.
It's wild, man. Wild.
Like, does this mean if we do get a number 6 that, like, they could kill off Gail? Like, nobody's safe, clearly.
Yeah, but...
Because, like, you always think that Gail, Sydney, and Dewey are going to be safe. They're the Holy Trinity.
There's no Trinity
apparently
now.
The fuck
not.
But yeah, then Sydney shows up at the hospital because she hears about Dewey and wants to be there for Gail.
Love it. Why is this girl coming back to Woodsboro?
Yeah, she literally said, she's like, I'm never going to come back to Woodsboro. Comes back to Woodsboro like 5 minutes later.
But we get it.
She came for Gail.
She did.
I don't think she should have.
No.
Maybe just give your condolences over the phone because they
flowers.
did this to get you back. Like, that is so obvious that they killed Dewey to get Sydney to come back.
Yeah.
She should have realized that, kind of losing her final girl status at that point. It's fine.
Yeah.
She wins it back later. But yeah, so we get like a little moment between Gail and Sydney, which is cute. But then Sam and Richie decide they're gonna get out of town and take Tara with them. And Gail and Sydney are like, maybe not a good idea because it's not gonna end. Like, just leaving town is not gonna end it. Like, as we know from Scream 2
and 3.
Ghostface is gonna bump you. So then they try telling her that. And this is kind of where I grew suspicious of Sam, and I'm like, okay, maybe she could be doing something like this, because both her and Richie were acting very sus here.
Yeah.
And, like, Richie was like, oh, no, we have to get out of town. And Sam's like, yeah, no, we're getting out. Like, we're not going to listen to you. We're getting out of here. We're going to take Tara with us. And I'm like, are you trying to stage something with Tara? Like, I would have liked that better, to be honest.
That would have been interesting.
But yeah, so another quote I wrote down a lot of quotes. There's some good lines. But when Sam is, like, arguing with Sydney and everything, Gail's like, you always say it goes back to the original, right? Well, this is the original, and points to Sydney, which I thought was kind of cool.
Yeah.
She is the original. She's the it girl.
She is.
Yeah. But so they do end up leaving. But
yeah.
Sydney tracks her car.
Yes, bitch.
Did we see her, like, put the tracker in? Like, did we see even, like, a moment where she could have, like, done it? Because I don't know how she got it in there, but I kind of love that she did.
No.
Like, Gail's like, oh, well, this kind of sucks. She's like, they're doomed. Sydney's like, no, I put a tracker in her car. Let's go.
She says it so casually, too, which I love.
Sydney's not fucking around in this.
No. Because Sydney's mama bear now. Sydney gets it.
Yeah, and then I remember, like, at one point when Dewey's like, do you have a gun? And she's like, I'm Sydney fucking Prescott. Of course I have a gun.
Yes, bitch.
Oh, yeah. But so then they do I keep calling her Sarah. Tara, Sam, and Richie all do leave. But then Tara is having, like, an asthma attack or something like that.
Yeah. And
needs her inhaler, but it's missing. Here's another thing that bothered me. I get why they had this sequence, but was there anything that told us she was asthmatic or anything? Like, was it ever brought up?
Yeah.
They really should have, I feel like.
Oh, it was either opening scene or in the hospital.
Okay. I missed that then.
Yeah.
Because I was going to say, I'm like, did they just toss this in, or was
No. They did mention her asthma in the beginning.
Okay, I missed that then. That's my bad.
But yeah, so her inhaler's missing, and for some reason there's one at Amber's house.
Of course there's one at Amber's house, because Amber lives at the Mocker house.
Love it.
And they need a way to get back there, so Tara's like, no, I need my inhaler. Like, we need to go back to Amber's house. I can just run in and grab it. Everything will be fine.
I will run in while she's in crutches.
Yeah. But, like, Richie is like, yeah, no. Like, at first I was like, okay, no, yeah, you're smart. Like, get the fuck out of there. Just suffocate. Like, I don't know. I wouldn't go. But yeah, no, like, he's just, like, very against it. But then he got, like, way too against it. And I'm like, maybe you're kind of suspicious now.
Yeah.
I went through a lot of phases of thinking Richie was and wasn't suspicious.
I'm just don't watch to figure out who it is. Because I'm too blonde to figure this shit out.
I can't help it. The whole time I'm just like, could it be you? Could it be you? I don't know.
No, like, I was literally watching Only Murders in the Building, and, like, the whole fucking plot of the thing is to figure out who killed these people, and I, like, couldn't care less. I was like, just tell me who it is, because I'm not figuring this out.
But yeah, they go to Amber's house, who, again, lives at the Mocker house, and she's throwing a party, and I think it's Gail, or someone who's like, who the fuck throws a party when there's, oh no, it was Richie, I think. He's like, who throws a party when there's a killing spree going on?
Apparently he's never seen an actual stab movie, because, I mean, in every single screen there's a party.
But as Lexie said, it's for Wes.
For Wes?
They literally cheers to Wes. They're like, this one's for Wes.
Like, I feel like that's the most Gen X thing ever.
It also feels like a double meaning now that I think about it. Like, for Wes in the movie, but also for Wes Craven, which I think I just clued into that now. That's probably kind of why they did it.
Stop.
But if you take away that meaning, it's a really funny reason to have it.
It is.
So yeah, no, not Amber, sorry. Sam and Tara and Richie all go into the party. If I were Tara, I probably would have just stayed in the car. But no, she hobbles in. And everybody kind of, like, gets all excited to see her, cheers for her, takes away the, spotlight off of Wes, the party that it's for. And I don't know. I feel like I get kind of confused here. Like, I don't know where everyone goes at this point. Like, do they go look for the inhaler? Because all I have written down is that they have the party, they go to get the inhaler, they walk in, and then I have it written down that Amber goes to the garage.
So, I think for some reason I feel like Richie does not get out of the car at first.
No,
but,
he wasn't going to. Tara's like, I'm going in, and Sam's like, well, I'll come with you. And Richie's like, I'm not staying in the car by myself.
So I think Tara and Sam go to look for the inhaler, and then Richie's like, I'm at a fucking party. I'm gonna go grab a beer.
Yeah.
There's no beers left. Or maybe Chat
That's later.
said that. Okay.
It's later. But Amber goes to the garage.
Basement.
Wait. Is it the basement? I thought she said garage. The basement. But this is where I thought she was going to get Tatumed, because this is when I thought they were in the garage. So I was like really expecting a remake of the Tatum death, which would have been so cool, because I didn't like Amber. But then Mindy shows up and tells her she should never go anywhere alone. This is also where I thought the sexual tension was very strong between them.
It was. I was right.
They were just like staring so hard at each other, and I'm just like, no, kiss. Just kiss.
It's funny too, because in Scream 4, apparently in the remakes or like now, the gays are always safe. So it would have been funny if they were. I mean, spoiler alert, Mindy doesn't die. So yeah.
Yeah, you may be right. Oh, and I also wrote here, apparently around here I was starting to wonder if Richie was related to Stu, or if Stu was behind this all in order to avenge Billy. Could not be farther from the truth. I was very wrong, but I was convinced.
Yeah. That would be.
I could see Richie being an ascendant of Stu.
I can.
Yeah. But yeah, so Gail and Sydney track Sam's car. And when they're driving to the party, Gail at one point says she thinks that she started the whole thing, which kind of made me a little sad. Gail's like, I feel like I started this whole thing by writing that book about Sydney's mom.
I didn't miss that.
Yeah. No, I caught that, and I'm just like, oh. And Sydney's like, it isn't your fault. She's like, no, if I hadn't wrote the book, this wouldn't have happened. Like, there wouldn't have been movies made about it. People wouldn't want to try to recreate it. Which, honestly, kind of makes sense. But I feel like, either way, someone was gonna... Yeah. It wasn't Gail's fault, but it is kind of, like, interesting to see her kind of wonder if maybe it was.
Because I'm trying to think was the second really about Stab? I think the second one's really Mrs. Loomis trying to avenge her son.
Yeah.
It had nothing to do with the movie.
Scream 2 is basically Friday the 13th.
Once again, never seen Friday the 13th.
Oh, sorry. Friday the 13th, the first movie, it's not Jason, it's his mom killing all these camp counselors because camp counselors let Jason drown when he was a little boy at camp. So it's revealed at the end that it's not Jason who's killing them like it is in all the other movies, it's his mom. So
well, I should know that because that is a question in the original
that's a question
Scream.
in the first one.
But
I totally would have got that question
Friday
wrong,
the 13th, so
it's not very good.
It's Jason's mom.
Very good. You know.
Okay.
Anyway, but yeah, so they arrived to the party. And maybe they don't arrive to the party yet.
No, they are tracking. They're like, why are you at the Mocker's house?
Oh, yeah. Sydney, she's like, or no, Gail, so one of them does, and Gail, like, they're like, look where they're at. And they're like, oh, fuck.
Sydney calls Sam. You got me saying Sarah now.
I'm sorry, and I keep calling Tara Tam.
It's fine. But she calls Sam and was like, you need to get out. This is where the original final act started.
Yeah, which is such a cool idea. We already knew this where it was going to take place, but it is really fun. And it looks the exact same.
Yeah, it does.
With, like, updated furniture and, like, technology, but it's
still really creepy.
Same. It's really good. Also, that house, like, that is not a house I would want to be stuck in with murders going on because it's in the middle of nowhere.
No, it really is.
But yeah, this is where Pink Hair Girl comes back.
Liv.
I keep calling her Pink Hair Girl because I didn't know her name. But she's dating Chad.
Yes.
And they're making out on the couch.
Of course.
And I like this scene. She's like, do you want to go upstairs? And he's like, I'm not sure, because I'm not, like, 100% sure you're not the killer.
Yeah.
That is,
He's like, I'm, like, 99% sure you're not.
Yeah, because she gets mad, and he's like, I'm, like, 99% sure, but, like, you know, you can't be too sure, and she gets mad, which, understandable.
But then
like, storms off. And so he goes after her, like, goes to find her. And this is remember I said there was, like, another technology piece that didn't make any sense to me? This is it. And it's he's tracking her on his phone. And they're, like, right on top of each other at one point. But it's Ghostface. So I assumed that Liv was dead at this point. Because they never mentioned her losing her phone, but I'm assuming Ghostface had her phone.
Okay, so I think this is where copying can come into play, because
I don't get how they do that.
So this is going to be like a in real life thing. If you're on Find My Friends on your iPhone, you can change your device to which device you want people to track. So back in college, when I didn't want my roommate to know I was going out without her, I had Find My Friends on my iPad that was staying in my room. So she wouldn't know that I was going out. So I'm sure with copying phones or whatever, like iCloud, like something like that, but they all have Androids, something along those lines.
And that would make a lot of sense, because I think at this point I don't want to say who the Ghostface is at this point, but I'm pretty sure I know who it is, because the other one I believe is still in the house. So I think it's very likely that they took Liv's phone and just, like, changed it to be their phone kind of thing. I think that would make a lot more sense. But at first when I was watching this, I'm like, how is this working? And I really thought Liv was dead. Because at first I'm like, okay, Ghostface must have her phone. Because he comes out, like, right as soon as Chad realizes they're kind of on top of each other.
Yeah.
Anyway. Chad gets stabbed in the thigh, something like that.
Yeah.
So then he hobbles away, and he's, like, hiding around the side of the house, and for some reason doesn't try to go to the front of the house to, like, get back in the party. He, like, goes to make a run back where Ghostface was.
Yeah.
And naturally Ghostface jumps out, because he was hiding too, and I thought he killed him.
Yeah, no.
He stabs him a few times.
Yeah.
So you think he's dead, but I guess he's not.
Nope. Apparently not.
I couldn't tell that was him in the ambulance at the end.
Yeah.
I kind of thought maybe, but I'm like, okay, maybe there was, like, another guy who died. I just can't remember. Anyway, I'm happy he didn't die, but I really thought he was.
It was nice to not have Randy's nephew not die.
Yeah, I was really happy that they both lived. Ooh, at this point, what was fun was we go back into the house, and Mindy is... Oh, yeah, by the way, when Tara and Sam and all them showed up, Amber called off the party.
Yeah.
Like, she told everyone to go home. So now, it's just basically, like, the main characters that we know of. And Mindy is sitting on the couch watching Stab.
Yeah.
And it's so good, because she's watching the scene. It's so hard to explain, because it's like a movie within a movie within a movie.
Yeah.
Within another movie. Like, it's weird. So she's watching Stab, and specifically watching the scene where Randy is watching Halloween and talking to the TV, and he's like, Jamie, watch behind you, Jamie, watch behind you. And Mindy is like, oh, Randy, watch behind you, like, copying the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
And then she sees that Ghostface is behind her.
She had the right instinct, though. Randy never turned around. She was like, maybe I should turn around.
Yeah. She's smart.
Yeah, no,
she deserved to live.
She did.
She did good. I have faith. I love her.
Oh wait, but at this point, Richie is in the house, and Richie goes downstairs to the basement to go get another beer.
Yeah, that's important. That's right before. That's right before Mindy.
Yeah.
Is like we get this part with Mindy, because he's like, "Do you want to go down there with me?" And she's like, "No, you could be the killer."
Yeah.
So, but yeah, so she gets attacked by Ghostface. I think she just gets, like, stabbed in the shoulder or something like that. And then she fights him off. And I don't really know how she's saved. Is it Liv? I think Liv might show up, and that's what kind of saves her.
No, Sam shows up. Oh, no. We see Sam then, and Sam runs to go see Mindy, and Ghostface is gone. And Sam is, like, checking on her or whatever, and then Amber shows up, and she's like, what are you doing?
Right, and then Liv also shows up, and Mindy is like, oh my gosh, Liv, like, where were you? Oh, there is a sequence between Liv and Mindy from earlier. We're all over the place, sorry.
Yeah.
But I forgot this. There's a scene with Mindy and Liv before the whole watching the movie scene, where Mindy is like, oh, you could be the killer, like, where were you this entire time? Like, where's my brother?
Yeah.
Whose blood is on you? All this stuff. And then Liv, like, goes to walk away, and then she comes back. She's like, you think I'm the killer? Well, you know what happens, yada, yada. You're gonna die, like, all this.
Mhm.
She was like, I thought they were gonna frame her to be the killer.
Yeah.
But yeah, so anyway, it goes...
There.
Yeah. So then Mindy, when everybody's, like, back together and Amber shows up, Mindy's like, oh, it's definitely Liv. Like, whose blood is on your hands? And she's like, oh, I found Chad.
Mhm.
And they're like, no, like, it's you. It's obviously you. And then Richie comes up from the basement, and Liv is like, well, where were you, like, when all of this was going on? It's you. And then they all toss blame at him, and then they're like, well, what about Amber? And she's like, well, I was with Tara. And they're like, yeah, but you could have got it, and you could have done it. And she's like, yeah, you're right. And pulls out a gun and shoots Liv in the head.
Yeah.
I did not explain that good enough, but it was, like...
It was just a lot happening in, like, that 2 minutes.
It was really good, though. The way they revealed that was kind of cool. Because, like, I feel like we knew it was going to be one of them, but you didn't know which one.
Yeah.
And she just says it so casually. She's just like, you're right. Yeah. And, so yeah, Amber's Ghostface.
Amber is a Ghostface.
A Ghostface. And I don't know how I feel.
At first I didn't like it. I didn't mind Amber, but then she started to get really annoying, and I'm like,
very annoying. I do like, so she runs out. Gail and Sydney show up, and Amber runs out, and she's like, oh my gosh, he's in the house. He stabbed me. He got me. And Sydney and Gail are just like, do you buy it? Gail's like, not a chance. And then Amber's just like, fuck it, and shoots Gail.
Gail.
I know. Gail gets really hurt a lot in these movies, too. But she doesn't die. She just gets shot in the stomach. But Amber's a very messy Ghostface.
She is.
Like, she does not keep up the act very well.
No.
But it is kind of funny. I really do like that scene where she's just like, ah, fuck it, you already know. And then she shoots at them. But so then Gail's kind of down because she got shot in the stomach. So Sydney's like, well... Or no, I think Gail's like, Sydney, like, you have to finish this.
Mm-hmm.
So we get, like, this, like, nice, like, pan out of Sydney standing in front of the Mocker house for, like, the first time in 25 years. Mm-hmm. Oh, it's so good.
So good.
And then she just, like, walks in and is like, okay, you have 5 seconds to come out if you're hiding. And we find out that she gave that warning because she just starts shooting down doors.
Good for her.
Yeah, no, she's smart. She's so smart.
She's learned a few things.
But yeah, as she's doing this, she gets a phone call from Ghostface. So we get one of our classic, hello, Sydney, which it's an
honor.
I missed. But it was so good because Sydney's not having any of this. So they're like mid-conversation, and Sydney's just like, I'm bored, and hangs up. Yeah.
Good for her.
It's so good. Like, this is what I'm saying. This movie is so funny. Unintentionally.
Yes.
But yeah, so she's shooting down every door because she's a genius and she doesn't play around. And then at one point she accidentally shoots Richie.
Yeah.
And she's like, well, why didn't you come out? And he's like, well, why would I come out? Like, you could have shot me. Like, you're shooting everything. And so then she's like, hey, just, like, come with me, whatever. But Ghostface pops out.
Yep.
And he and Sydney fall over the banister. And so she's, like, struggling to get the gun. Ghostface is, like, kind of struggling to get the gun as well. And Sydney's like, Richie, get the gun, like, shoot him. Or it's a knife, something like that. I think it's a knife. Yeah, it's a knife.
No,
it's a knife because
No, it's a gun because Sam gets the gun.
Right, yeah. So Richie is going to get the gun. And then Sam shows up and grabs it. And you think she's about to shoot Ghostface. And then Richie walks over and stabs her.
Plot twist!
So Richie's our other Ghostface.
Yes. We do have to mention something else before this. So
Yeah.
Sam finds Tara tied up in a closet.
Yeah, I forgot to mention that. And before this, Richie had kind of like planted in her head, she's like, oh, like maybe your sister is behind all this. Maybe your sister's the evil one.
Yeah, and it starts to get to Sam's head that maybe Richie is right, and she's a little hesitant to let Tara go. And we don't see if she lets Tara go. But,
that was a big moment.
Yeah, that's important.
How did I forget that? But yeah, Richie stabs Sam in the stomach, which is kind of really shocking.
Yeah.
Like, part of me was surprised and part of me wasn't, because he was kind of suspicious throughout, but I also really liked him and I didn't want him to be Ghostface.
Well, I don't watch to figure out because I'm too stupid, but he played along so well that he did not know a single thing about horror movies.
He was really good.
And he literally was watching all of them.
It is a good reveal. I do like him as Ghostface. I don't like Amber as Ghostface.
Me either.
Their motive is okay. It's not the worst one.
I find it interesting, and I think I just find it interesting because we're on Stan Twitter, so like I get it.
Yeah, no, they met through a subreddit. I think it's a Woodsboro subreddit.
Yeah.
Which is kind of iconic.
The fact that they're dating really cringes me out, but
whatever. He's like 20-something.
Yeah.
She's like, we met through a Woodsboro subreddit and realized we both have the same kind of ideas in mind. And I'm just like, how does that randomly come up in conversation with a stranger on the internet? Because, like,
yeah,
wouldn't, like, you could be having that conversation and they could just be, like, an undercover cop. Like, how do you know? But anyway, so they planned this whole thing because Amber has been intrigued since her family bought the Mocker house.
Yes.
And became very invested in, like, Stu and Billy and the whole Woodsboro murders from the first one. Mm-hmm. As I think anyone would if you lived in that house.
Mm-hmm.
So they planned this whole elaborate murder scheme.
So the reason why they did this, Richie's the one that explained this. They're fed up with the Stab franchise because each movie progressively gets worse.
It is kind of a great idea.
It is. He says that...
I mean, it's a horrible motive.
Nobody takes a true stand seriously because they love something. And, I find that interesting. Because, like I said, we are on Stan Twitter. And we feel very passionate about some of our things. And we love, like...
We literally have a pop culture podcast to talk about TV and movies. Yes, we feel passionately.
Like, why are we bringing up Riverdale again? But I'm going to. But first season of Riverdale is the best. Each season progressively gets worse and worse and worse.
Yeah.
And so I think the motive is kind of cool to bring it back to the original. And that's why it's called Scream and it's not called Scream 5. I don't take it as a sequel. I take it now as a tribute to the original and trying to get back to the original type of slasher films. And that's what Richie says.
Yeah, so their motive is revealed. And I like it a lot more now that you've kind of shared, like, your thought on it. Like, that whole they're trying to get it to go back to the original. Because I don't think I fully grasped that. So you explaining that to me definitely makes me like that idea a lot more. And I think I would maybe bump my rating up a little bit now.
No, I get it.
Yeah. It definitely makes a lot more sense. And I do like that. Because at first I'm just like, are you really just doing this because you hate a movie? Like, a little excessive, whatever. But yeah, no, I definitely like that a lot more now.
And it goes back to, I think, Macy mentioned it last week with one of her favorite lines from Scream 4 is you don't fuck with the original. And they're not, this movie's not trying to fuck with the original. It's trying to go back to the original.
It's doing something new.
It's going back to the original, but like new twist to it. It's not like
I wouldn't say they're doing something new, but they're bringing the original to a new age.
Yes, absolutely.
They're doing a reboot basically.
Yes.
But not really.
Yeah. Richie said that, I mean, Scream was Stab 1, 2, and 3 all based off of Scream 1, 2, and 3?
I think so.
Okay, because he says that the Stab movies are better when they're based off of real events.
Right.
And
they want a movie made on this.
Yes, which goes back to the original, that this was the first real event and it was the best. Yeah. And they just want to be...
no denying it was.
Yeah, it is. And you don't fuck with something you love, which that's with any franchise. Like, you love Halloween and you don't like all of them, and it's kind of like sucks when you don't like all of them.
Yeah.
Because it's something you love and you grew up watching and it's like stuck with you, and like you just feel like people aren't taking it seriously, and that's what Richie and Amber are trying to do. They're trying to take it seriously.
Like I said, we don't like to bring it back to Riverdale all the time. But that's exactly it. Like, we love these original seasons, and then as it goes on, it does get worse. And you're just like, no, like, you don't understand. It was really good at one point, and I love this show. It has its bad moments, but it's still special to me.
Yes.
And that's exactly, like, I think what they're kind of getting at here, especially with these movies in general.
Yeah, because they definitely got exaggerated as time went on. Like, I mean, I was telling you about Scream 3 yesterday. Looking back on it, I don't think it's as bad as everyone thinks it is. But it's definitely a little
campy.
Yes, campy. Which obviously the first and second aren't very campy at all. Like,
they have their moments, but it's not full camp like 3 is.
No, 3 is full camp. 4 isn't really campy. It's more like a remake. Which, once again, this Scream is not supposed to be a remake. It's supposed to be a reboot, I guess, or a requel. Is a reboot and a requel the same thing?
I don't know. And I tried to figure it out, but I just know it'll give me a headache.
Honestly, it might be. Going based off the definition I have, it kind of sounds like it.
Kinda, yeah.
Yeah, so...
But with every Scream movie, after the reveal, you gotta kick some Ghostface ass.
Yes.
It's so good. It's honestly one of my favorite Ghostface takedowns.
Yes.
Not so much Richie, but Amber's is so good, and I did not like her, so seeing her go down was so satisfying.
I'm sorry, go down? She went up in flames, honey.
We'll get there. Yeah, so basically Gail and Sydney kind of tag team her, which is iconic. They literally at one point, Gail takes her by the arms, Sydney grabs her legs, and they chuck her over a thing. Over a counter. Sydney cracks a bottle of alcohol or sanitizer on her face. It's hand sanitizer
because she says something.
She's like, it's not fucking hand sanitizer. So that's important.
Yes.
But yeah, then at one point Amber just starts crying. She's like, no, please don't kill me. I'm sorry. I was just a victim of the movies and of Richie and all this. And Gail's like, you killed my best friend. She's like, and Amber's like, yeah, and he went down like a pussy. And Gail snaps.
Yes.
Yeah. And it's amazing. I don't really know. It happened so fast.
So, Sydney turns on the gas for the stove, and when...
I think it was Amber. I think Amber accidentally got bumped into it and her hand like slipped and turned it on. I don't think it was intentional.
Oh, I thought Sydney did.
I think
even if it was
could've.
unintentional. Either way.
The gas
stove
turns
made
on
it on.
And I don't know exactly. Oh, Gail headbutts her.
Oh.
Gail like headbutts her because Amber like is doing something. She's like fighting with Gail. And she's like, I just want to pass the torch. And then Gail's like, consider it passed, and headbutts her. And then Amber goes backwards and falls face first onto the stove. And because she got hit with hand sanitizer, her entire being goes up in flames.
I thought she got shot and fell back onto the stove.
I think she got headbutted.
I thought she got shot.
Either way, she ends up in flames, and it's amazing.
Yeah.
Which
goes back to step 8. Because they were talking about the new way of Stab killing people was with fire.
Okay.
Which also I mentioned last week
where...
So do I. I feel like they're really interesting.
Oh, they're definitely like Friday the 13th.
Yeah.
They're definitely the Friday the 13th sequel.
Definitely. Kind of feel bad for Amber's character, though, because I said last week, her character in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood also died by being lit up in flames, so... Sorry, Amber, but not sorry.
But this is funny because, as you know, they never stay dead. Like, as Dewey said, you have to shoot them in the head.
Yeah.
So she does come back. But it's so funny because before this, and I remember I sent this to you guys, I'm like, oh my gosh, is Ski coming back? Because someone posted 4 pictures that said Scream 5 out of context. And one of them was a picture of Billy. One of them was the Babadook, like the poster.
Mm-hmm.
And then there was the Stab movie. And then there was a picture of Chucky from 1 or 2, half melted, like holding a knife. And that's exactly what she looks like when she comes back to life. Because you just hear her start screaming, coming running while half of her face is melted. Oh, it's so good.
It is.
Like, I can't wait to rewatch this movie just for that scene. Because it's so funny.
It was.
Yeah, they take her out pretty quick.
Yeah.
But Sam goes after...
Sam's working on Richie.
Yeah, Sam's going out... I don't care about this. The Amber stuff was so fun.
Yeah.
Richie... I don't know. Him and Sam just kind of wrestle.
But I think this was the important part with Sam was she's being attacked by Richie. She's on the ground and...
Oh, yeah.
So Sam gets visions of Billy throughout the movie. Mm-hmm. But this is probably the most pivotal one because Sam doesn't want to be anything like her father. And she makes that very apparent, like that she's taking meds to try to not see him and be him. But obviously at this moment, like...
You have no choice.
You kind of have to be.
Yeah.
And she sees Billy, and he kind of points out that there's a knife hidden underneath the table. And she takes it, and she stabs Richie. And she goes to town. She's like...
No, I hate this because the first time that she stabs him, it goes straight through his cheek and out through his other one, and it's so disgusting.
That's pretty
cool. Like, what is with them? Okay, no, seriously, what is with these writers with knives going through things?
Yeah.
First it was going through the full hand, then it was going through the neck, now it's going through the cheek. I do not like it.
I do.
It's so gross.
I don't like gore.
That one looked like it hurt. I don't like gore. I love horror movies and I don't like gore. But
yeah, that's kind of backwards, but it's okay.
But it was just nasty.
Sam makes a new rule to not mess with the daughter of the serial killer there, which I think is very iconic.
Yeah.
And just, it oddly, like, warmed my heart a little. Which is so weird to say.
No, I get you.
Even though, like, she tries so hard to not be a part of Billy, but Billy is a part of her. And
that's, like, undeniable.
Yeah. And if there was any moment for Billy to come out of her, like, this was it. And it was great.
Call it a Billy moment because, like, I'm sorry, anybody in that position would do the exact same thing.
Oh, yeah. She might have been even more gruesome than Billy. Like, Billy stabbed, but, like...
Yeah.
This was what I found
interesting. They did gut Casey and hang her from a tree.
There, but that could have been Stu.
It might have been Stu.
Yeah. Because Stu talked about, he
had the whole
hunting.
live her alone joke.
Yeah.
I love Stu.
He was great. But yeah, this stab movie, they kept going and going and going. Like,
Yeah.
I feel like other ones you were just like stabbed and like, okay, you were it. No, they were stabbed, they were turned, they were cut up
like
down.
that. There was like little bits where like you realize just how much they've learned from living in Woodsboro and stab movies being made, and that's like, no, you have to shoot them in the head. Like, don't go anywhere with anybody because you don't know.
Yeah.
Anybody could be the killer. Stab them a million times because they're not always dead.
Mm-hmm.
And Gail and Sydney even say that they're like, okay, is he actually dead? And Sam's just like, pew, 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 like gets him a few more times. And at one point, I think it's a gun.
I think she starts.
No, yeah, she does start shooting him. Because I think at one point you see his head just.
Yeah.
Yeah, he dead.
He's really dead, and that's where Amber comes running out.
Yeah.
Because of course one of them can't.
How do they even kill her the second they just shoot her?
Yeah.
Yeah. She was gonna die anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah. But that's basically it for that sequence. Then they go to the ending, but
yeah, and we see that Mindy, Chad, Tara, Sam, Sydney, and Gail all come out alive, which is I think a new record.
Yeah.
For how many people live?
Yeah. But yeah,
so we just realized all the siblings lived.
Oh,
that's kind of nice.
Well, there are 2 siblings who are dead now. Tatum and Dewey. Their poor mom. Both of her kids.
Not alive now.
Yeah, both of her kids got by Ghostface.
Oh.
But yeah, so with this ending scene, Sam has a little heart-to-heart with Sydney, which I did like, where she's like, will I be okay? And Sydney's like, you will be, eventually. Which I think is kind of sweet, but also like, you're gonna be messed up for life, girl.
Yeah.
But then she sees the reflection of Billy in a puddle. And I feel like this is definitely foreshadowing for something, which is maybe why everybody was talking about the ending. Because I've seen people being like, me either, but people are like, I wasn't confused by it. People are like, oh, explaining the ending, that wild ending. I'm like, what was so wild about it? So maybe
I haven't seen anyone talk about the ending.
I've just seen like bits and pieces. But yeah, so I think it's maybe foreshadowing. I don't know what. But I feel like we're definitely, with how much money this has made just an opening weekend, we're most likely going to get Scream 6.
Yeah.
I think it would be kind of fun if they did, like, the storyline of Scream 2, but, like, updated to be this, and it's kind of just, like, playing on that whole bringing it back to the original, but they're basically recreating all the sequels unintentionally kind of thing.
Yeah.
And I want to follow Mindy this time.
So that would be everything. And hopefully she makes it out alive to, like,
I don't think
avenge Randy. No, Chad seems a little dumb, but it's okay.
I like him though.
I did. But I saw one tweet, and this does open up. It could be a start of the next trilogy. So obviously the original Scream trilogy was 1, 2, and 3. But now we have the Woodsboro trilogy, which is 1, 4, and 5. And then we can have the new generation trilogy, which is 5, 6, and 7, if they do make a 6 and a 7, which I
don't want them to.
I'm like content.
I'll be the first to say it. I don't want it.
I want it because I love Scream. I don't want it because the legacies, and like,
I know.
That's my like one major con is like the legacies weren't in it enough.
I know, and I have a feeling if they did it again,
if
they did 2 more movies, I don't think Gail's making it out.
Yeah, if Sydney makes it out, that'd be a miracle.
I feel like, honestly, I don't even think I could say that I think Sydney would make it out. I feel like they would kill Sydney.
Yeah, which I don't.
Piss me off.
Don't. Just stop at 5.
But I feel like I could definitely see them doing a trilogy because with the success of Halloween doing a brand new trilogy that's a sequel to the original. Like,
I mean,
why
Jurassic
wouldn't
World
you?
got their own
Yeah, like
trilogy.
everybody's doing these major trilogies, so like why wouldn't they? I don't want them to just because I'm worried it would get messed up. And with it not being like the thing that makes Halloween work is that you have Jamie Lee Curtis coming back and she's prominent.
Yeah.
Sydney did come back here, but she probably got 30, 40 minutes of screen time and that's it, which isn't a lot considering it's like a 2-hour movie.
Yeah. It's not.
So it's just hard. And in Halloween, the characters are more likable. So
I mean, I love Sydney and Gale.
And they got a lot of the original characters back. There isn't a lot of original characters you can bring back in Scream because everyone's dead. Yeah. So it's just
You know, I'll take a Scream 6 if I can meet Sydney's mom and dad finally. I'm sorry, not Sydney, Sam. Sam. Yeah.
I'd be down for that.
I want answers.
How
did they not come? Like, how?
I don't know. It's so messy.
So.
But the movie ends, again, tying back to that original, it ends the exact same way.
Same way.
Like, it pans out with even, like, to the T of a news anchor dressed in, like, a nice pantsuit, doing an interview, reporting on the incident. Like, it's really good. I like that.
So do I.
But yeah, that's Scream. And it was wild.
It was.
This is gonna be such a long episode. I'm so sorry, but really, what do you expect?
We took 2 hours to explain the 2-hour movie. It's fine.
So now we'll just kind of speed run, I guess.
Yeah.
Through any like little questions. So ultimately, how did we feel?
So I watched it twice. Going into it the first time, I had a completely different idea of what it was going to be about. I thought it was going to follow Sydney because honestly, that is what the trailer made it seem like.
And I feel like that's what we always think with all these movies because that's what they are.
Yes.
Every single movie is followed around Sydney.
Yeah, I mean, I even put on my bingo card that the Ghostface reason to kill wasn't going to involve Sydney, and I put that on there as like a joke because all of them involve Sydney. This is the first one that doesn't.
You were right.
Yeah, which I wasn't expecting.
I was going to say it kind of does, but no, they really only brought her back just to say they tried to kill Sydney Prescott.
Yeah, no, she had nothing to do with the reason.
Which is crazy.
So when I first watched it, I think I was on a super, super big high because I just saw Scream in theaters, and I was like, this is fucking insane. And don't get me wrong, I loved it, but then, like, the next day, I was like, did I?
Yeah.
And then I started doing a whole entire franchise rewatch, and then I watched Scream 4 today, and it kind of clicked that Scream 4 is a remake. This is not a remake or a sequel or continuing on with the franchise. I think it's the next chapter of the Scream
it's a new
franchise.
generation.
Which, if you look at it like that and take out the legacies, this is a completely different movie. It's like Jurassic World.
Actually.
Yeah. So
I think upon first watch, you and I both would have been a little more keen on it had they not focused so heavily on the legacies.
Yes.
Because taking out those legacies, like you said, it's a good movie. And it is a good movie even with the legacies. But that's what bogged it down so much for me is that there wasn't enough of them.
Yeah.
I thought this was going to be a movie about them dealing with this 25 years later, which I would have loved.
Yeah, absolutely. So, and like you said, Sydney was in it for 30, 40 minutes. Like, I love Sydney. Like, that's why I watched Scream. Is it also because I have a crush on... Is it Nev or Neve? I always mess this up.
I think it's Nev.
Okay. I have a crush on Nev Campbell, as anyone should. So I wanted to see more of her. And to be honest, this woman gets better with age. So let me tell you, this was the hottest Scream she's looked in any Scream movie. So the fact that I only got 30 to 40 minutes of her, kind of upset.
And we got even less of that of Gale.
Yeah.
I feel like. Yeah, we did, actually. Because a lot of that first, like, half of the house sequence was just Sydney.
True. That was very true.
Which, I'm not mad about, but
No,
I want
I'm
to see
not.
Gale and Sydney kick ass.
I mean, they did kind of kick ass. I
They
just
did.
wish we saw a little bit more of it.
Mhm.
So if based off the, like, when I first watched it, probably like 3 out of 5 stars, maybe 3.5.
I gave it 3.5.
Looking back, I'll bump it up to a 4 if I think about it in a
After
different
this episode,
way.
I bumped it up to a 4.
Yeah, you just have to think about
I'm
it.
not changing my rating though on
Yeah,
Letterboxd.
don't.
I'm keeping it as the same.
Yeah. I just think it was a great tribute to the original and to Wes and what he created.
Wes would be proud.
Yes. And that's
which
what
I
everyone
think
keeps
is
saying.
the most important goal.
Absolutely.
Whether
Absolutely.
the movie was shit or not, if Wes was going to be proud of it, I think that was all that mattered to everybody involved.
Yeah, I now can't think about the For West sign in the freaking party, and I really hate you for pointing that out. But
see, for me, I said I have 3 main problems with this movie, and they're as follows. This is what I've been wanting to say the entire time, that I didn't want to say it till we got to the end. It feels like a sequel to me.
Yes.
And I mean that as in it didn't do too much original stuff. It did enough that it felt like a different movie, but they focused so heavily on connecting it back to the original that I feel like it kind of got weighed down in that sense, and it just felt like a sequel to me. Like it didn't. I know, but it didn't. I don't know. That's the only way I can describe it, is that it just felt like a sequel because of how much they just tried to tie it into the first one. And I kind of wish they had done something new.
Yes, but the only reason why I wouldn't call it a sequel, in a sense, is, well, it's a sequel to the first. It's not a sequel in the chronological order of the franchise.
No, that's what I get. It has those vibes. It has the sequel vibes.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, even I said, like, I thought they were going to do something more exciting and new, and even, like, the killers were near carbon copies of Billy and Stu. Like, Richie was very Billy. Well, even to having his girlfriend as the one he wanted to kill. Like, he says he wanted to be the one to kill Sam. Too. And Amber tries way too hard to be Stu, and it's so cringy.
Yeah, I even said last week, too, that one of the theories of who the kills were going to be Richie and Wes, because of Richie is wearing the flannel like Billy does, and Wes was wearing a cream sweater. Obviously, Wes is dead. But Richie was very Billy-esque.
Yeah.
Do we find out if Billy or Stu is Ghostface first?
Billy.
Billy? Okay. Never mind then. My point is not.
But yeah. My second one was that there wasn't enough time for the legacy characters, which we already had talked about. Mm-hmm. And yes, it's nitpicky, but I wanted more of them.
Yes.
And then my third one, like I've already said, no one was very likable to me.
Yeah.
Which was hard. And it's not like you need to have every character be likable, but so many of the characters in this franchise are likable.
Yes.
So just having, like, these ones that I just didn't really feel connected to, I didn't really feel many emotional attachments to them when they died, save for Dewey. And kind of Wes.
Also, just, I don't have an emotional connection to teenagers anymore.
Yeah.
I'm always the type of person that falls in love with just, like, adults in anything and everything. So, and, like, it just felt very Gen X-ish with the kids.
Everything lately that's been made, it just feels very trying too hard to be progressive.
Yes.
I will say, I loved seeing representation in the friend group.
Oh, absolutely.
Like, we had Latina main characters.
Yes.
We had 2, I believe they're mixed, Chad and Mindy. So I loved seeing them.
Yeah.
It isn't, like, a lot of times representation in horror movies especially, it's just like the gay character is there to die, or the black character is there to be the stoner who dies. Like, that's what happens a lot, and these characters all make it to the end.
Yeah.
Like, every single one, which is really cool to see, and something you never see, really. Mm-hmm. But I will say, I do have some positives. I didn't just focus on the negatives. Sydney, Gale, and Dewey. Flawless. They were
Always.
phenomenal. They slipped back into characters, and same with Skeet. I will say same with Skeet, Billy. They all slipped back into characters so flawlessly, especially since it's been 10 years since they did.
Well, Skeet's been 25.
Yeah, like it's crazy. So I was really, that stole it for me. And also they all felt like they were at very natural points in their lives and where they would be.
Yeah.
Which I liked. And then I liked seeing the nod to both Tatum and Randy. Because we did see a reaction to Randy. We never saw a reaction to Tatum except for Stu making like a fake kind of thing, being like, oh, Randy killed my Tatum, trying to frame Randy.
We did see a slight reaction when Sydney fell off of the second story of the house into the boat. She did see Tatum.
Right.
But that
still.
is legit it.
Yeah, so it was nice to see them acknowledge that. And like I've already said, I found Ghostface scary in this, which is new and interesting. And the kills were kind of cool. And they played with technology, which I wanted. We
didn't get our Ring freaking sequence.
Scream 6. Skype and Ring are going to get shoutouts in Scream 6, thanks to us.
Please do.
But yeah, so I liked it. I gave it 3.5. It isn't my favorite, but it is my third favorite of the series, I'd say. Like, if I were ranking them, it would go 1, 2, 5, and then 4 and 3.
Yeah, I think that's what mine is, too.
Mm-hmm. I think that's kind of really it. I had a few other questions, but I think we kind of answered them throughout.
What were your other questions? I don't remember them.
Just what did we like and dislike? Who did we think was going to be Ghostface? Were we surprised by the reveal? Favorite part? All that. But we kind of touched on that as we went.
Yeah, I think so.
I think the last thing that we have to do though is our final bingo card review, because if you missed it, we made bingo cards where we came up with a bunch of theories that we thought might happen in this one, and we were going to check them off after we watched the movie. And we got a surprising amount right. Which
is kind of funny because the ones I thought I was going to get right were not. And the one I totally guessed on just to fill in my bingo card, somehow I got right.
That's what the thing. You don't have to think too hard with these movies. Like, don't think too hard because it's going to exceed everything.
For real.
So how many did you get right?
So
there's 24 that we put on. Because one's a free space. I got 11.
I have 8.5.
Which is kind of impressive. I'm kind of impressed. Technically I technically have 11.5. Because we were both stumped on whether we should count Gail writing another book as a full point.
Yeah.
Because she mentions it because she's going to write a book about Dewey.
Yeah.
Which I think is cute. But she hasn't officially started writing it. So we don't know if we can count it. We don't even know if she will write it. But
and since Macy's not here, I will.
Yeah, Macy couldn't join us, but shout out to Macy. I think she loved it.
Yes, she did.
I think she loved it more than we did.
Yeah. But she's also a huge Scream fan.
Yeah.
She has 10.5.
Ooh, I won!
Somewhere a little, it says, a character who died in the franchise. Gail has a new book.
Okay, yeah, so we all.
She said a character who died in the franchise comes back, which, like, yeah, Billy died, but he's back. He's back.
Yeah.
So we did pretty good. No bingos.
We did a lot better than I thought we were gonna do.
Yes. Because coming up with these was super hard. And like I said, some of the ones that I didn't think I was gonna get right, I'm still shocked about my total freaking guess that the Sydney, the reason why the killer's killing is not because of skin.
I know. I get what you mean. It didn't have anything to do with Sydney.
No.
Yeah.
I kind of love that.
It was definitely an interesting thing. Not to bring it back to Halloween, but they just did the same thing. They made it so that it has actually nothing to do with Jamie Lee Curtis's character. Even though that's what she's been thinking for the whole... Oh my god, like 50 years. I didn't realize how old that movie is. Holy shit.
That's crazy, actually.
Yeah. But that's basically it. That is it. We can't talk anymore about this. We're 2 hours in. This is going to be a long episode.
Yeah.
But we just had so much to say. We've been waiting for this movie
for so long.
Yeah. It was, final thoughts, it was worth it. Wes would be proud.
Wes
For Wes.
would definitely be proud, literally for Wes.
Mhm.
I mean, he said that at the end of the movie. I don't know if you saw that.
I
but
saw that.
Yeah.
So thanks for joining us on another episode of Enter the Fangirls. You can keep up with us on social media. Our Twitter is Enter Fangirls, and our YouTube and Instagram are Enter the Fangirls.
Make sure you follow us wherever you listen to your podcasts, and we cannot wait for you to join us next time. Once again, I'm Lexie.
I'm Sam, and this has been Enter the Fangirls.